Nigeria 15 here on Channels Television, and of course we'll be letting you in on how you can be part of this particular program. Don't forget you can send us your tweets with the handles that will appear on your screen now. And of course when you have them over 140 characters, you can do an email. The email, Nigeria2015@channelstv.com. We just would love to see them pop up on your screen so that you can have an idea of what this is about. Yes, there you have it. 1, 2, 3, 4 of them there for you. Remember the hashtag Nigeria2015. And of course, when it goes beyond that, that's the email for you, Nigeria2015@channelstv.com. Don't forget, you can also be part of this with your mobile device, and irrespective of the one you have, Android, iOS, Windows platform. And of course, what you do, go to the market or the store, just download the Channels TV app, swipe to reveal the eyewitness menu and upload those pictures and videos concerning this particular process. It's the election here in Nigeria. We just had, well, 48 hours ago, the Nigerian Presidential and National Assembly election, pretty much later today. The National Collation Center in Abuja will be open and running. Professor Tahiru Jaga has stated so clearly about that. Don't forget about all of that. Look at these numbers popping up on your screen. These are the crisis call-in numbers for you. And of course, the U-Report SMS number 20544. All for you concerning this particular one. We have more and more of them there showing on your screen at the moment. And for those calls for questioning concerning issues in your locality, we have our correspondents from across the country. They'll be letting you in on this particular one. Don't forget, we also spoke with our correspondent in London, telling us that Nigerians in diaspora, specifically in the UK, have been praying, hoping that this process is not truncated, hoping that this process remains as peaceful as possible, so we can have an acceptable, peaceful, credible elections. Well, we're now being joined by Funke Adekoya. She's a senior advocate of Nigeria. Good morning, and thanks for joining us.
Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here.
Well, anyway, very quickly, I'll come to you right away, because coming to the studio, you can see that the hustle and bustling of Lagos has returned. It's Monday, by the way, but people are anticipating to hear something from INEC so far. But how would you, did you vote?
I didn't vote.
Oh my.
I didn't get a PVC.
You're one of those?
I didn't vote.
So how did you feel?
I felt disenfranchised. I felt left out. I felt very upset to be on the sidelines at such an important time as this. I did everything possible to be re-registered. It just didn't happen.
Wow. What was the story you were getting?
The story was that my name wasn't on the voters list, which I couldn't understand because I voted in 2011.
And you had your TVC?
And I had my TVC. Thank God for tweeting. Eventually, because I was so frustrated, I tweeted. Eventually, someone passed it on to INEC, and INEC's Twitter account then said, do this, do that. It didn't work. I sent in the numbers I was supposed to send. I kept on getting the same automated response. Send your last 4 digits, we'll check. There's been multiple registration, go and re-register. I tried to re-register. It was a total mess up. Oh. I just couldn't re-register. So and there was no continuous registration in January, as we were told.
Sorry about that, because now you automatically became, well, a watcher of this particular process. Exactly. Sadly so. But again, well, anyway, since you voted in the last election, and you voted in previous elections, even before the last one, yesterday we were trying to also look into the past, drawing from experiences and lessons, and see what difference does it make with this 2015 election for you?
From what I heard and from people that I spoke to who actually did go out to vote, it seems that the elections were fairly well organized, going by the population, going by the number of people who registered, going by the number of people who expressed an interest in actually voting. From what we're seeing, if you look at the numbers of those who are registered to vote and the numbers who collected their PVCs, I think a fair number of people, we'll have to wait for the statistics, but I think a fair number of people actually collected the PVCs and then went out to vote.
Well, we can help you with the figures here. From what we have, at least 68.83 million people were said to be on INEC's register. 81.9%, it's almost 82%, which translates to about 56.431 million people were able to pick up their PVCs. This is maybe also adding into adding the number of people who also participated in the continuous voter registration. Unfortunately, it did not happen where you were or around your area. But would you have preferred, this is on the sideline now, would you have preferred that you were allowed to vote with the TVC as well? Or do you think that the problems would have been too much?
Personally,
Yes.
I would have loved to vote with the TVC. But I think the problems would have been too much because there would have been people who would have had a TVC, they would have had people with the PVC, and then there would have been the questions of the card reader. If the card reader was set up so that it could read both the PVC and the TVC, then I think that would have sorted out those problems. I don't know about that technology. But it's better to have a credible election, even if it means that some of us were not able to vote.
So, if we take it from the constitutional point of view, where it says no Nigeria should be disenfranchised, would you say it's better to be credible and disenfranchise a Nigerian, contrary to the constitution?
I think it is better to be disenfranchised and have a credible election than for everyone to be enfranchised and for the results to be doubtful.
Now we're talking about results. Sorry there, Mark, because now I think we're almost getting there. We're getting home, coasting home, talking about the credibility and acceptability of this particular result. We woke up and we inundated. I'm sure you're on the social media as well, because you talked about your Twitter handle and a couple of other things you did with Twitter. You must have been seeing results being posted, you know, by so many people talking about it, even though they know that it is in well, it's against the Electoral Act for anyone to go about that. How well can this affect a process now that politicians, especially, and some social media and even traditional media has started talking about who's leading, who's won what, and without INEC saying anything about it?
Well, I think INEC has said something. INEC has said we're the only ones who are allowed to announce the results, but that at the voting centers, the voting agents, after the voting has concluded, would announce at each ward. To the extent that people are tweeting pictures of the voting sheet, it's credible. To the extent that people are tweeting results and just saying, at my polling unit, these were the scores, I think we need to take that with a pinch of salt.
Okay.
Well, I'm really, really brimming now from side to side because I have women on this table. But I'm going to go to Abuja, where Professor Jibrin is waiting for us. Dr. Akiode was raising a question about outsourcing, and I think that Nyota was beginning to thrash that. If you can hear me, Professor Jibrin, I hope that he pops up on the screen shortly.
Well, anyway, I think, well, he'll come back. They'll try to establish content, but let's very quickly go to Nasarawa State, where we have Pius on the line via phone, Nasarawa State. Pius, good morning. Tell us what the situation is like in Nasarawa State.
Good morning. Thank you. The results are from the 13 local governments in Nasarawa State have been collated, and we are waiting for the announcement by the INEC rep here to tell us who has won in the state at the presidential election. Well, but I can tell you that all the local governments have brought in their results, and they have completed them. We're only waiting for the announcement who has won what from Nasarawa State before they can forward that to INEC in Abuja. So we're media all waiting around for that briefing.
Well, Pius, as if you read our minds, we're just talking a while ago with our in-house election analyst talking about this particular election and the need for everyone to wait for INEC to make that announcement. And you say for Nasarawa, they are done with collation and awaiting the REC, that's the Resident Electoral Commissioner in that state, to make the announcement. Prior to this collation, were there any issues with the collation or results or even the process?
Well, the process yesterday at Lafayette local government, for instance, there was a question about collation of results for the House of Representative candidates for APC and PDP, and there was mild drama there, almost exchange blow because they were banging the desk and all that over what they say was inaccurate report results that was collated at some point, and the security had to intervene for that to be brought under control. But besides that, it has been peaceful. Nobody has done anything to affect the process, particularly as it is.
What's traffic like in Lafia? I'm sure you are in Lafia, right?
Yes, I am in Lafia.
So what's traffic like? No, it's a work day. I
can tell you this morning a whole lot of vehicles are moving down south than going up north. The vehicular traffic through Makurdi axis is heavy compared to driving to Abuja. And some of my friends have been calling to say, what's happening? Can we move? Can we stay? And I told them, just stay and wait for the election to be announced. I'm not sure anything is going to happen, but people are moving.
Okay, do you know if the wreck of the state has moved to Abuja now?
I can confirm that here because we have been telling this since last night, so I wouldn't know exactly where his position is, but I can see vehicles that look like official vehicle for the wreck, but I can't say. I have not seen him here. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll get back to you, Pius. We'd like to thank you so very much. Pius, our correspondent in Nasarawa, said saying that the wreck is done, just as if he was listening to us, Mrs. Adekoya, looking at all of this, and he was saying that tempers were actually flared, hitting the table, everyone screaming and all that. It goes back to the process which you say is very, very important, that we have a credible and acceptable result. Now that is done and dry in Nasarawa State, by the time we start to get all of this coming in, because the news about ballot snatching would seem that it is when they have an idea of either party A or B is going to lose, that's when they swing into action to cause chaos. How can we avert and guard against that as a people? Because we know the people is key here.
Well, I think there are two things that we can do. The first is the people themselves. Thank God for social media. So people are able to tweet, phone, email, send photographs. Immediately these things happen. The second thing is that's why we have the police. And from things that we're hearing, in some cases the police are standing by and are allowing these things to happen. I'm aware there's one incident where the story is it was actually a police officer who snatched some ballot boxes, and then the report was that no, he didn't snatch the ballot boxes, he went to protect the INEC staff and the polling agents from being harassed. But these things need to be investigated. I think the next issue is, from what we've seen so far, there have been not so many problems at the voting units. The problems have been at collation centers. And I think that's where the opportunity is to discredit these elections. And that's where we need more transparency. We need to have the polling agents going with the results from the voting centers to the collation centers, being there throughout, and having the press and the observers there as well.
So you think it's a good thing for Professor Jega saying that we won't start the collation at the National Collation Center until the media is fully there?
I think that is a very good decision.
Okay. Let me just say
Go ahead.
Okay, about the social media tweeting results and all that. If you look at 2007 election, we didn't have that. Until 2011, people were sharing results, and I think it's also about the system. It's about people also trying to ensure that they follow through the process. Not good for them to declare the result before INEC, but in a way, it gives a sense of who is winning in a particular state, in a particular ward, and so that when you then see a result, contrary to probably what is trending, then you can begin to ask questions about how did we arrive at this. So I think it's about the trust for the electoral management body. I am aware that in Zamfara, even on Saturday, they arrested an official of INEC, trying to do one thing or the other. So I think it's being propelled by what people see in the system.
Our vote.
Yeah, protecting our votes,
determine
ensuring that the electoral system is not corrupt. So people just want to keep, their beam light on the processes to ensure that we don't then get to the collation center and you then see something that is contrary to what people have been trending on.